Steven Guareno, KO Artist Sports. We're here with the one and only Shawn Porter. Looking fly, brother. Looking fly. In the suit, right? This is the Shawn Porter suit?
That's right.
Yeah, very nice, very nice.
Just real quick. You can't find this anywhere, so just call me. And I don't mean call me. Don't call me.
I don't even have your number.
Don't call me.
Where could they get them? Where could they get them?
My wife don't call me. Don't call me. Text me, email me. Shawn Porter Suits on Instagram, and I think it's SP Suits on Twitter. That's how you get in touch with us and make the magic happen.
It sounds like a good sponsor for my channel, bro.
I got you. I actually do. I got you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Man, let's get into some boxing stuff, man. I know you've talked about it on your podcast. Just with Terence Crawford having defeated Errol Spence, I feel like that was one of the most, maybe the greatest performance I've ever seen live. I want to say in person. What was it that Spence maybe didn't do correctly, that, you know, or was it just Terence Crawford is just who he is just the superior fighter that night?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we know both these guys. We knew this was a 50-50 fight. Obviously, it didn't show as much, but one thing we didn't know was that even from a standpoint of preparation, it's 50-50. Who trains the best? Who game plans the best? Who's got the best corner? I honestly think that ultimately it came down to Terence looking and seeing what he saw. Remember back in the day, Mikey Garcia said, "I see something. I see something." Terence showed that he saw something, and he was able to, you know, connect those dots and solve the puzzle. That's a hell of a puzzle. Errol Spence has always been a hell of a puzzle to get with, you know. So can't take anything away from either fighter, man. I hate to see that people are just saying that Errol ain't who we thought. No, he is. That guy just was greater that night, you know.
That's what I was going to get to next. I mean, you hear guys like Stephen A. Smith calling for him to retire. I mean, it's only his first loss ever. You know, the man's like unified champion, you know, and got beat by a generational talent. I mean, I don't know. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I think, yeah, in the moment, there's a lot of emotion and things like that. And then even for Stephen A., he is a man that his job depends on his emotion. Hey, you know, this is who he is, you know.
Right.
And so it depends on his emotion. So he's one of those guys that won't leave the fight and leave that emotion in the room. You know what I mean? I went home, we sat down, and we talked for 2-3 hours about the fight and all that kind of stuff. But we sat down and we had a general conversation, you know? So I think that if you remove emotion from everything that night and all that kind of stuff, you do see that, hey, that was his first loss. Yes, it was a hard loss. But allow the physicians and doctors to make that decision whether or not he's healthy enough to continue. Don't just completely write him off because you've seen him in a space that you did not expect to see him in, and you saw him in a space that you've never seen him in before, you know?
Is there a reason for a rematch maybe at 154 pounds? Errol gets a little more weight, or is it maybe give it a couple fights and then maybe revisit it in a year or two or something like that?
A lot of people don't want to see the rematch. I'm an advocate for rematches. Growing up, and I will say this, there was maybe 1 or 2 fighters. There was maybe two fighters as an amateur that beat me consecutively. But I was one of those guys that if you beat me once, you couldn't beat me twice. I saw it, I felt it, I tasted it, made my mental adjustments. I came back, and I was somebody different. You know what I mean? And that's truly what I expect from Errol Spence, you know? So, yeah, with that being said, I am an advocate for the rematch.
You know, I'd love to see it, right? I mean, they're still great. They're still great fighters, no matter how you slice it. Yeah. Terence is kind of in a weird position a little bit, right? I mean, it's like, obviously, I feel like the obvious choice would be Jermell if he were still at 54 pounds, but Jermell literally has bigger fish to fry in you know, Canelo.
Yeah.
Is there a call for that fight? I mean, even say, I mean, I guess we don't know, right? If Jermell wins against Canelo, then that creates a whole nother mess, right? Because now he's at 168 pounds. I guess first let's talk about that one. What does Jermell have to do to be successful against Canelo?
Well, I'll say that I don't think Jermell Charlo returns to 154. He returns to 160, maybe 168. He may just stay at 168. In order for him to be successful, he's got to use his feet. He's got to create distance, keep that distance, and hit Canelo with something that's going to keep him honest. And I tell you what Jermell Charlo has working for him. He has this timing and this eye to just see that right hand and throw it. The punch the fight that always sticks out to me is that fight against J-Rock, because it was a punch that we just did not see coming. and it was pinpoint accurate, and that timing was special. That's what he has working for him. So I think that that is what he's going to rely on in that fight against Canelo. Can't rely just on that. If you do, you're in trouble.
Was that Maul that fought J-Rock?
No, I thought it was Jermell.
No,
was it Maul?
54. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Africa, right? You're talking about?
Yeah, it was like this. Yeah, it was like this.
Boop.
Yeah, I thought that was Jermell.
It was Maul's last fight at 54.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Well, I mean, nonetheless, we have seen Jermell, excuse me, do the exact same thing. You know, land a right hand out of nowhere and end a fight. You know, and so, but my thing is, you can't rely just on that.
Definitely. Just one of the last ones I want to get to, as I feel like one of the last people to defeat Usyk ever in the amateurs, because you did beat Usyk in the amateurs. Obviously,
He want to go, didn't he? He did. He did want to go.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like you got the last victory ever. I should talk to him about that.
We don't know who the last person to beat.
I mean, maybe.
We don't know.
I'm starting a rumor, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Just let's talk about that fight, man. Usyk and Fury, if they happen to get it together, who do you think kind of comes out on top on that?
That's a tough fight for Fury, and I think that's why I don't think Fury wants that. I think that honestly I do. I think that Fury's really got to get ready for this one, and not to say that he doesn't get ready for the fights, not to say he doesn't, he's not ready. And I just think that that fight's going to command a lot more than just for an example, Deontay Wilder. D ain't moving all over the place, and D ain't throwing 40, 50 punches around, and kind of the list goes on.
He's not left-handed.
Yeah, and I just think there's a lot to get ready for, and I personally, I don't think that Fury wants to. And I will also defend that by saying I don't think he needs to. I think that Fury has earned that position to fight who he wants to fight, when he wants to fight, for however much money he wants to fight him for. He's
doing it.
And he's doing it. Is what it is. Yeah.
The Porter Way podcast. Catch it on all the social media platforms. Shawn, thank you very much, brother. Appreciate you, man. As always. Oh, we missed that. We missed that up.
That was something new. Y'all ain't know nothing about that.
It's a secret handshake. We're still figuring it out. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.